There's nothing more exciting than launching a brand new website. There's such a build up, the team is pumped, your internal team, the owner's excited, there's an expectation of so much more business going to flow, there's so much going to go on that particular day. Some businesses treat it as this, line in the sand and it's going to be a big announcement and all of that. But launching a website is tricky. There's a lot of moving parts associated with actually going live and transferring an old site to a new site, which is in most cases what's happening these days. Most businesses have a website and they're renewing and refreshing. So there's lots of influencing factors. In fact, K&D, we have a 61-point checklist that we run through with launching a site. It usually takes about a day to fully go through that. Some of it's technical, some of it's front-end usability, just testing and last-minute tweaks. Some of it's actually Google related. Some of it's really super technically related. So there's lots of different elements all fighting for each other on that particular day, not to mention the timeline and the customers flowing through and just making sure we don't screw it up. So it's a big event. We try not to do it on Friday. Why? Because the technical team have weekends too. Everyone's human. So we do not necessarily launch a live website on a Friday. We avoid it at all costs. Monday, Tuesday, all good. So one of the things we look at when we are launching, what does our checklist look like? Now, I'm not going to go through each line item here. I'm just going to go through at a high level and have a look at the things you need to focus on. If you're thinking of launching your new website yourself or you're a marketing team, you need to know what to look for when you are going live. Now, there's some things that your developer can only do. Some of the really heavy technical testing is all in their hands and you need to rely on them, but you also need to know what to look for. So I'm going to go through and have a look at this. So like some of these items are update users and passwords, so security around that from a testing environment to a live environment. Time zones, switching permalinks. So some of this is WordPress based. Images all optimized. So theoretically, this should have been done during the build stage, but sometimes the owner or the marketing team upload their own images during the build phase and they haven't been optimized properly. So there's a process of going through. Some of these items can take quite a while to actually do. There's SEO components as well. Is the SEO plugin installed and really pumped? In some cases, clients do their own SEO. We hand the SEO over, but there's lots of different things to check. One is there's a checkbox in WordPress that in testing you go, hey, I don't want the search engines to see my site while it's being built. So many times we have inherited a site on our hosting and we go to have a look and that box is still ticked. It's bad, really bad. Client wondering why it's not being found in Google. That's why it's not ticked. So yeah, these checklists, we follow up and we make sure that we have a green light on all those items. So what does this actually look like in a bit more detail? So I've spoken about timing. We're not releasing on Fridays, we're releasing earlier on in the week. We are going through a serious test phase on that go live, making sure that live domain is humming. How do we do that? It's a technical level. We're looking at the code, we're doing database scans, we're testing the forms, we're logging in, actually entering in the forms on the site to make sure that they are flowing through to the right person in your business. We're also checking links, dead links, cross links between sites, social links, making sure they're all connectivity is all in there. We're looking at maps to make sure the Google API is carried across to the live domain and isn't just sitting in the test domain because the maps won't work. The API is making sure all the API connectivity for transactions and banking and everything is going to work and that we're in that live environment. There's lots going on in this area here. But most importantly these days is your SEO, your search engine optimized footprint. You need to be maintaining that. In a lot of instances, businesses are reinventing their website to improve their SEO, But you want to get a baseline as well at that point, but you don't want to lose the traffic you're already getting. So we're actually making sure the URLs, those web addresses, are matching, so we're not generating too many errors with Google. We are submitting the site through the search consoles, through Google's search console. We're submitting that. We're doing mobile testing to make sure it's working on mobile versus desktop and tablet. Getting those tests all right. It takes many hands to do this and quite a bit of time to make sure it's all ticked off. Only once all of this is complete do we then go, okay, let's see how fast we can get this thing. We would have done testing of speed in the test site, but it's not till you get it live, you just need to tweak stuff. So we're turning on caching, we're perhaps turning on a content delivery network, a CDN, to make stuff fast and hum on the live server. So this all happens after, maybe an hour or so, or even 2 hours, making sure that those things are nice and speedy. We're running the site through different testing tools such as GT Metrics or Google Page Speed Test or the or webpagetest.org to make sure there's no errors being generated in that load profile of the speed page. And last but certainly not least is security. We're making sure that the SSL certificate is valid and correct and loading efficiently, that the site's redirecting into that SSL environment efficiently. We're checking that the security plugins are all configured and running. We're making sure that we're at no risk of exposure to hackers once that site is live. So what we find quite often is that some of these steps are missed by less experienced developers. So when you are launching a site, make sure you really are planning to go through all that and allow yourself time. Take your time. I would say don't do a hard launch. Don't do hey, we're live today, go and check it out tonight, bang, send everyone there the next day and send a newsletter. Let it be live for a few days to iron out the little bugs that might appear, or the fresh eyes that are reading some content on the site that you may not be totally happy with, or that you've looked at the site too many times and you're not reading it correctly anymore. It takes a few other eyeballs to go, oh, what about that? Oh, there's a typo there that gets picked up in that sort of go live phase because of the new experience. So good luck with your launch. If you need a hand, don't hesitate to reach out. It is an intricate process. It's easily half to full day's work for us to launch a site and go through our checklist and make sure everything is tickety-boo. So I'd love to hear from you soon. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We're offering some really high-level digital strategies and advice on a weekly basis. And I'd love to hear from you and love to, if you've got any questions about launch, put those in the comments and reach out to K&D Digital. We'd love to hear from you.